Okay, get yourself ready for your practice. Sit yourself on a lift and then come into a good cross-legged position so that you're sitting evenly and with levelness at the seat bones. Let's just have a little wriggle about. Make sure that you're feeling that there is an innate levelness at the seat bones, that the seat bones feel like you're neither sitting on the back edge of the sacrum, you can roll onto the front edge of the seat bones, and that the balance of the seat bones feels even. Hold onto your knees, lift up into your chest, elevate the heart area upwards and draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Look down at the floor, look at something that isn't moving. Spend a few moments just listening to the breath. Focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and long, slow, deep, deliberate exhalations. Soften your jaw by drawing the lower teeth away from the upper teeth. Soften your tongue in your mouth. Release your knees, bring your hands into Namaste, push the palms firmly together. Lengthen from your armpits into your elbows into the heels of the hands, the heels of the hands into the fingertips. And with an exhalation, allow your eyes to gently close. With an exhalation, draw your chin down to meet your chest. Lift the chest up to meet the chin. Draw your shoulders down consciously away from your ears, but keep lengthening from the armpits into the elbows. Spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone or somewhere. Hold on to that feeling of abundance in the heart area. Release the backs of your hands down toward your knees. And then lift the chest up to the chin, lift the chest to the ceiling, and then release your head away from your chin, from the chest. Just look forwards, and then open your eyes and look directly in front. Hold on to your knees, lift up into the chest, drawing the shoulders down away from your ears. Take a deep inhalation in through the nose. And then with an exhalation, turn to the right side, drawing the abdomen across and the ribs and the shoulders. Just acknowledge how it feels for you this morning. Is there resistance? Is there freedom and openness? Just observe how the pose feels. Use the out breath to intensify the turn. Use the in breath to reinforce the elevation of the chest. And then come back to the centre. Hold on to your knees, elevate the heart area upwards, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Take a deep inhalation. And then turn to the left, drawing the abdomen across and the ribs and the shoulders. And then come back to the centre. Just come off your lift and then sit back on your heels. Have the big toes together, the knees apart, and then just sit back on your heels. Feel how the shins, every time you come into this pose, especially the first time you do it, the body responds. The shins stretch out, and there's some resistance in that initially when you first start doing this pose, but eventually it starts to really become kind of restful on the legs. So observe how it kind of stretches out the shins. And if you've been on your legs all day, Virasana is very good for refreshing the energy of your legs. So if you've been on a big long walk and your legs feel tired, sit in Virasana, and that stretch of the shins is really refreshing for the legs. But just enjoy that stretch, that extension of the fronts of the shins. And then consciously press the shin bone into the shin muscle and the skin. So the thighs activate. Elevate the heart area upwards and then come forwards, hinging at the hips. Stretching forwards, sitting back. So that's two kind of contrary actions, isn't it? Stretching forwards but sitting back. So every yoga pose has got its contrary action. So in this pose we're trying to keep the seat bones down, but we're trying to stretch forwards, keeping the head lifted initially so that you can continue to lift the chest, extend from the hips into the heels, and then finally bring the forehead down. But if that makes the seat bones part company with the heels, if bringing the head down makes you lose that connection, then put a block underneath your head. Listen to the sound of the breath. Listen to the sound of the breath. Feel in the lungs. And then just bring the arms to the sides of the body so that there's no determined forward extension. It becomes heavy on your head, but if that becomes too much, you can consciously lengthen from the shoulders into the fingertips. Otherwise, it's just observing that Pressure on the forehead helping to quieten the brain, and the softening of the shoulders in the traditional child's pose. So the frontal lobes of the brain is where we do our thinking, so we help to quieten the front of the brain by applying some gentle pressure to the forehead. And then extend your arms out again and notice how the distribution of weight changes. The head becomes light again. Draw the tailbone down to the heels, stretch the back muscles so that you can lengthen and open the back chest. Come up onto all fours, turn your toes under, have your hands as wide apart as the mat, your feet as wide apart as the mat, and then come up into dog down. Just be in dog down for a moment and observe your balance of action. Where does the body feel heavy? Where does it feel light? Where does it feel like the legs are activating? And are you activating evenly on both sides, on the left side and the right side? Aim for balance of action. Are you working more in the arms than in the legs? Try and really work to determinedly activate the legs. To take the pressure away from the shoulders. To let the neck be soft. And then step your feet forwards, come up into a standing position, and then have the blocks for your hands for half uttanasana. Bring your feet as wide apart as your mat. Feet as wide apart as the mat. Turning the toes inwards. Just make sure that your feet are in line with each other. Make sure that the outside edge of the foot is in line with the edge of the mat. So the big toes are significantly closer together than the heels. Stamp the big toes into the floor, stretch the little toes out. Lift up into the chest. Wing the elbows back. And then hinge at the hips, keeping the head lifted. And then reach down, find the blocks. Be on fingertips. Again, go back to the action of the legs. My legs feel really uneven this morning, so that's part of the observation that allows me to activate the legs evenly. So every day is different. And as soon as we begin to activate one area evenly, then perhaps it becomes more obvious that another isn't being activated. So we begin to activate in those areas, and then perhaps you observe that maybe when you activate the kneecaps more firmly, then you can activate the shoulder blades. So every activation leads to another. If you can go down lower, then do, but do it because the body permits, not because the ego wants. If you bend your knees or you round your back, just come down lower, then go back higher, because the legs need to stay straight regardless of where your hands are. So find that levelness of action. Because we sometimes begin with imbalance and we end with balance. And if your balance doesn't feel right today at this stage, well, just observe it and use that observation to deepen the activation so that you do find levelness. Bring your hands into your hips, bend your knees on the way up if you need to, and then come up into a standing position. Just come into Tadasana. Have the inner edge of your feet together. Spread the toes. Tighten the kneecaps. Lift chest up to the ceiling, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Turn your palms all the way out so that your arms rotate in, the upper arms rotate in the sockets. Activating the broadness of the collarbone. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Stretch your arms out in front, turn the palms all the way out, and then like you're doing the breaststroke in the swimming pool, stretch behind you, and then at the last minute bend your elbows so that the tips of the fingers come together, and then turn the tips of the fingers up towards the back of the neck, and then walk the hands as high up towards the neck as you can. So namaskarasana. Can feel initially really strong in the little finger side of the hand. So wing the elbows back. Lengthen consciously from the shoulders, drawing them away from your ears, from the shoulders down into the elbows, and then from the elbows into the heels of the hands. So squeeze the elbows in towards each other so that the palms come flat. Just take some deep inhalations, deep exhalations, listening to the breath. Focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. Listening to the sound of the breath. Winging the elbows back. Pressing the palms firmly together. Pressing the finger knuckles together. Lift your toes to sharpen the action of the legs. Tuck the tailbone in, draw the belly button to the spine, draw the lower ribs towards the spine. So you don't kind of just convert the shape into kind of a banana shape. And then release chest, release the hands. And then stretch into the fingertips, turn palms all the way out. Lift up into the chest. Listen to the sound of the breath. The sound of the in-breath and the sound of the out-breath. Observe the space around the neck. Draw the chin forwards and down to meet the chest. Lift the chest up to meet the chin. And then raise the chin up to the ceiling. Pushing the chin to the ceiling. Feeling the front of the neck stretch. Bring the chin forwards and down to make contact with the chest. Lifting the chest up to meet the chin. Maintaining your Tadasana. And then raise the chin up to the ceiling. Maintaining your Tadasana. And then come back to the centre. Just soften for a moment. Okay, we're going to do parsvottanasana. We're going to use the chair. So get a chair or if you haven't got a chair, you can just use like a little table or something, just something that's going to kind of give you some support. So stand towards the back end of the mat, just facing your chair, and then I want you to turn out the left toes and then step forwards with the right leg, nice and wide, and then bring the hips level. So at this stage, it's about turning the legs inwards like you do in Tadasana, turning the fronts of the thighs inwards so that the back of the thighs rotate outwards. Bring your hands onto your hips so that you can feel that the hips are level. Lift up into the chest, tighten the kneecap, and then come forwards, keeping the hips level, and then reach down, find the seat of the chair, and then stretch towards the back of the chair. Press the little finger side of the hand into the back of the chair, and then go back to the seat bones. Keep turning the fronts of the thighs inwards. Just feel your balance of action. If reaching towards the back of the chair isn't working for you, then you can just come onto the seat of the chair. So either way, everyone bring your hands onto the seat of the chair, because that gives you really good elevation of the front of the chest. So press the fingertips really firmly into this chair seat, and then lift up into the chest, and then slide your hands towards the back edge of the chair, all the time keeping the hips level and keeping the chest lifted. Just pressing into the chair, lifting up into the chest. Now if you want to go further down, you can reach the chair legs, and then keeping the chest lifted, just slide your hands down the chair leg and then reach the floor. Now if you can't reach the floor, if it makes you do this, then go back to the chair. Lift up into the chest. So this is parsvottanasana. Just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. And then I want everyone to bring their hands back onto the seat of the chair, and then to come up onto the fingertips, the seat of the chair closest to you. Lift up into the chest. So we're going to use this as the basis for a parivrtta trikonasana variation. So I want you to bring your left hand across and bring it in line with the right foot. And then bring the right hand behind you. Bring the right hand into the small of the back. Have your hands on the small of the on the buttock area really, and then feel that they're level. And then press the left hand firmly into the chair, and then lift the chest. Lift the chest, and then turn to the right side. Turn to the right side, keeping the legs turning inwards. Lifting the upper shoulder up to the ceiling and around to the left side of the room. Okay, and then bring both hands back onto the chair and just level out the hips again. Bend that front leg and then step forwards, and then come back to the end of your mat. So parivrtta trikonasana is always a pose that you've got to have length in the spine, otherwise it feels not very pleasant. It feels unpleasant, I would even go as far to say. So if you learn to elongate the spine, then when you turn, you've got space to turn rather than kind of jarring any of your joints. So just be back in Tadasana, just feel the energy of the previous pose lift up into the chest. And then turn the right toes out slightly, and then step forward with that left leg. Bring the hands onto the hips and Tadasana-rise your legs. Tadasana-rise your legs. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards. Keep the kneecaps tightened. And then lift up into the heart area. Feel that the hips are level. If they're not, then turn that back leg in even more. The front of the thigh, turn it inwards. And then come forwards, keeping the head lifted, keeping the back straight, and then reach towards the seat of the chair. At this stage, just work to really make sure that these hips are level. If this front hip is forwards and the back hip is kind of back towards the other leg, then the hips aren't level and turning will feel really awful. So just work to really bring those hips level, turning the fronts of the thighs inwards. Keep the hands on the seat of the chair and extend into the spine. You can reach towards the back of the chair, stretching forwards, but all the time keeping the front chest lifted. Keeping the front chest lifted. If you want, you can slide your hands down the chair, but slide your hands down the chair so that you've got somewhere to kind of push into, so that you can keep the chest lifted. So as you come down, the chest remains lifted. Just keep working to level out the hips. And then everyone bring your hands back onto the seat of the chair. Bring your right hand across so that it's sitting over the left foot. Bring your left hand into the small of the back. And then before you try and turn, I want you to just press the hand into the chair and then lengthen the spine. Lengthen the spine. So lengthen the spine first and then turn the chest to the left side of the room. Breathing even and deep inhalations and exhalations. So we've done parivrtta trikonasana many times over the years, but sometimes it's really good just to come into a supported stage so you can really feel that length in the spine, because sometimes we often do it just from the floor, and often there is a lack of extension in the spine, which really means that you can't turn. The turn is really good for the back. Okay, come back to the centre, bring both hands onto the seat of the chair, bring the hips level, and then step forwards with the back leg, and then just take the chair away, and then come back into Tadasana. Just feel how you've opened up the energy of the hips. There's lots of energy around the shoulders. Just breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Maybe there feels like there's more capacity in the lungs. Bring your hips hip width apart, turn your toes in. If you've got a bad back, rather than coming all the way down, you're just gonna, you can just use the back of your chair or just a windowsill or tabletop. Come forwards this way so that you protect your back. Otherwise, you're going to come into full uttanasana. So raise your arms, thumbs into the crease of the elbows, wrap your fingers around your elbows, extend the elbows up to the ceiling. Keep the head lifted, keep the arms lifted as you come forwards, keeping your back straight for as long as you can, and then allow your body to hang down. If this feels too strong in your back, then just go back to the chair like I showed you. So you only go halfway down, just a half uttanasana, or you can just put blocks under your hands and do half uttanasana. Again, in this pose, do the legs feel even? Or do you feel more left side penetration than the right side? So it just takes an observation to activate it. But unless you observe, then you can't activate it. So as teachers, we try to inspire action with our words, but Actually, you have to feel the pose to teach yourself how to draw the mind into the pose. Okay, release your hands down to the floor. Bend your knees, come up into a standing position. And then come down onto the floor, come into baddha konasana. So the soles of the feet are together, and then just sit the seat bones as close into the feet as you can. Hold on to the big toes. Hold on to the big toes and lift up into the chest. Roll onto the front edge of the seat bones and lift the abdomen up to the diaphragm, up to the collarbone. Just push the heels consciously together. If you find that you sink and that you're rolling onto the back edge of the seat bones and you can't roll onto the front edge of your seat bones, then sit on a lift, sit on a folded blanket or a block or some blocks. Lift up into the chest. Try and keep the elbows bent to the side, because sometimes if your arms are straight, then you just clamp the rib cage together. So you restrict the action of the breath. Keep the elbows bending out to the sides a little, so that when you inhale, you can really let the chest expand. And then just bring the legs into cross legs. If you could do half padmasana comfortably without straining your knees, then you can do that, but otherwise cross legs. Again, if cross legs makes you sink, or if padmasana makes you sink, then sit on the left. If padmasana makes you, or half padmasana makes you sink, then just do normal cross legs rather than trying to strain into the pose. Hold onto the knees, roll onto the front edge of the seat bones. Lift the abdomen up to the diaphragm, up to the collarbone, and draw your shoulders down away from your ears. So we're going to come forwards into a forward bend. If you've got a bad back, it can be quite strong to come forwards from sitting. So if that's the case for you, then just stay at this stage. Get a couple of blocks that you can reach. Just hold onto your knees and lift up into the chest, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. And then take the blocks and then just a little bit at a time walk forwards with the blocks. Have the fingertips on the blocks, push the fingertips into the blocks so you lift up into the chest. Stretching forwards, pressing into the blocks, lifting up into the chest. If you can go lower, then you can put the blocks on a lower edge. But all the time, again, just like we were doing when we were coming forwards into Adho Mukha Virasana, we come forwards with a lifted chest. Just like we were doing in parsvottanasana, coming forwards with a lifted chest. If you can reach the floor, then do. Try to keep the tailbone down as you come forwards, because it will want to lift. So turn the tailbone in, try and get the tailbone to reach down to the floor. And then when you're close to the floor, then make a couple of fists for your hands, one on top of the other, and then rest the forehead down. If you're away from the floor, then just put blocks underneath your hands, just as many blocks as you need, so you can go up as high as you need to. So just have something that supports your forehead. Keep reaching the tailbone down to the floor.
So this is a good massage of the liver. Gives you space in the kidneys. Observe which hand is on the top of the stack, whether it's the left hand or the right hand, because in a moment we're going to swap that around. If your elbows reach the floor, push them into the floor so that you can lengthen the tailbone down to the floor. Okay, lift your head. Just again, note which hand is on the top, and then push yourself up into a seated position. Just observe the quietness that comes over the brain when you come out of a forward bend. So however you're sitting, whether it's in conventional cross legs or half padmasana, then I want you to swap your legs around. So do the other padmasana, or if you were crossing your legs one way, then cross them the other. It will feel a little bit odd, but that's why we do it. So this is the side that you would maybe typically not go to first. And you probably feel some unlevelness in the seat bones. So just roll over, move the buttock flesh out to the side so that you can hold on to the knees and find levelness at the seat bones. So it might be a case of just readjusting the position of the torso to find that levelness at the seat bones. Hold against the knees, just get the blocks where you can reach them. Hold against the knees and lift up into the chest. Lifting the abdomen all the way up to the diaphragm region. And then keeping the head lifted, keeping the abdomen lengthening towards the diaphragm. Come forwards, reach forwards with your hands, and then be on fingertips on the blocks. If this doesn't work for you, you can do supta baddha konasana. So lay on your back with the feet together and the knees apart. So if you can lower the blocks, then go for that. If you can reach to the floor, keep reaching forwards. But again, turn the tailbone in, it will want to lift. So lengthen the sacrum into the tailbone into the sacrum. And then create a couple of fists for your hands, but have the other hand on the top of the stack this time. And then release yourself down. Again, just raise the floor up by putting blocks there if you need it. And then allow the body to continue to lengthen into the tailbone. But there's a distinct softness to this pose. In terms of action, there's a softness of action, but not a complete flop. Keep the elbows pressing into the floor if you can reach the floor. Lengthening from the armpits into the elbows. Pushing the elbows so that you roll onto the back of the seat, or roll onto the back edge of the seat bones. Well, not really the back edge of the seat bones, but the back of the front edge of the seat bones. So drawing the tailbone down to the floor, drawing the tailbone in. Just bring in support for your head. You can use a bolster if you can't reach. Okay, and then raise your head, push your hands into the floor, and then come back up into your seated position, observe the quietness of the brain that comes over the physical body when you allow it to. And then hold onto your knees, lift up into the chest, elevate the heart area to the ceiling and turn to the right, drawing your abdomen across, just observing if it feels any different to how it felt at the beginning of the sequence. And then come back to the centre. And then lift the chest as you turn. So just as we did in parivrtta trikonasana, the more you lift the chest, the more you can turn. Dig the back hand into the floor so that you stay on the front edge of the seat bone. And then come back to the centre. Just sit in whichever padmasana or swastikasana feels most comfortable, so you might want to swap back to your original. Just hold onto your knees. Just hold onto your knees and lift the chest and feel that you can fill the lungs from the bottom to the top and empty your lungs from the top to the bottom. We're going to do 5 rounds of brahmari pranayama. So brahmari is where we just breathe in normally and then you hum a low note so it feels really resonant. It feels resonant in the chest, warming for the chest, warming for the throat, warming in the head. So you observe your own resonance and then you exhale you hum on the exhale until the lungs are empty. I'll show you. So you hum until the lungs are empty and then a normal in-breath and then you repeat. So we'll do 5 of those together. So you can keep your eyes open or closed, whichever feels better. Just a normal exhalation, a normal inhalation. Just one more normal exhalation and then a normal inhalation and then we will begin 5 brahmaris. Just do it in your own time, don't try and follow me. final one. And then just bring the breath back to a normal rhythm, observing how the pranayama brings energy to the chest. Perhaps you felt the resonance in the chest. Maybe you felt the resonance in the throat and in the sinuses. Just humming brings clean air into it kind of sweeps out all of the stale air in the sinuses and replaces it with clean air. So maybe your sinuses feel a little clearer. Okay, come down onto your back. And then just pull your knees in toward your chest and then hold onto the edges of the mat and lengthen your legs up to the ceiling. Just viparita karanhi. If you struggle to lift your legs, put a block or a bolster underneath your sacrum area. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Keep the legs activated like you're doing Tadasana. Just feel the quietness of the brain that comes from the pranayama, the energy in the chest and the arms and the shoulders and the legs. Bend your knees, bring your feet down onto the floor. Lift yourself up into a seated position if you can't reach a blanket. Otherwise, bring a folded blanket underneath your head and then stretch yourself out along the mat. If you're cold, you can cover yourself up. Just allow the body to release down into the floor. Soften the jaw and the tongue and the throat. Unhook the muscles of the arms. Let the body just flop heavily into the floor. And heaviness is important because the heaviness of the body transforms itself into lightness that radiates from the bones and penetrates the muscles. So feel that energetic lightness radiating the bones, penetrating into the muscles and the organs. Penetrating the flesh and the skin. Use your in-breath and your out-breath to distribute the energy that you've created through your practice this morning down into the toes, into the fingers, to the legs and the arms and the neck and the head. Ready to disturb yourself, just wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, and bend your knees in towards your chest. Have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom, and then roll onto your right side for a moment, and then stretch out the top leg, come back up into the seated position, just a final cross legs with hands in Namaste, a final spinal lift. Draw your breath in through your nose down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice. And then draw your chin forwards and down to meet the chest. Spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you have created inside, and then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. Bring the tip of the index finger together with the tip of the thumb. Gesture of wisdom, of physical intelligence and peacefulness that we can carry into our day as an intention. Gently raise your head. Allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. Thank you. So hopefully you feel like really nicely stretched out and full of good, positive energy you can put into your day. So thank you very much for joining me.